Hey everybody. So welcome. This is Vintage Warehouse of Spartanburg. My name is Danielle Kaminsky. We are using StreamYard to broadcast this live. So we are on Facebook as well as on our new YouTube channel. So again, my name is Danielle. This is Vintage Warehouse of Spartanburg, and today we are getting started on our August furniture makeover. So I'm going to show you this piece. I'm going to tilt you back just a little bit. I want you to be able to see this is the top of the china cabinet, and of course we've got these drawers with some really cool hand carved elements, and then we have, of course, doors down here on the bottom. I've already taken all the hardware off and cleaned it. This piece had a story to tell. It was covered in dust and soot, and I would imagine that at some point along the way it had seen some damage. But anyway, we're going to start working on this today. So today we're going to work on putting on the base coat, and we are using Fusion Mineral Paint in Midnight Blue and DIY Paints Copper Patina Pennies from Heaven. So if you have questions about anything that I'm using, please feel free to drop those in the comments. We are using StreamYard, so if you want me to see your name and know who I'm talking to, if you know me, then of course you'll need to give StreamYard permission to show me your name. Otherwise, it's just going to say Facebook user or YouTube user, and I'm still more than happy to answer your questions. I just might not know who I'm talking to. So that being said, the first thing that I'm going to do today is use the DIY Pennies from Heaven and this is the blending brush. This is one of the ones that we sell here in the store, and I'm going to use this to kind of stipple in some of these details here, and then I'm going to be base coating in the Midnight Blue. But that way I really down in some of these crevices, want to make sure I've got some copper peeking out. We're going to put a lot of layers on this piece, and part of the reason that I've chosen the colors I did, I want to show you guys, we're going to be using one of the Bubblegum Yum decoupage papers for the inside of this cabinet. So let me kind of show you that piece so that you can see the reason that we're going with the colors we're going with. As y'all pop in here, I would love for you to say, hey, let me know that you're watching. Even if you don't want to give permission for your name to be shown, you can just always say, hey, Danielle, so-and-so watching. Let me know if you're local, if you're from the Spartanburg area, or if you're watching from somewhere else. We do sell all of the products that I'm going to be using in this makeover here at the store, and we ship. So if you see something that you're interested in and you're not local, we can take care of you. So, okay. This is the decoupage print that we're going to be, well, this is the artisan print basically from Bubblegum Yum, and this is their artisan decoupage paper. And we're going to be putting this on the back wall of this cabinet. So you can see that's what that looks like. And that's why I chose Midnight Blue, which is this really pretty navy color. So this is going to be not next week, but the next. So the third Thursday. So I just decided a while back, I want to show you guys more ways that you can use these products that we carry. So we're going to be going live at 3 o'clock every Thursday. We're going to use StreamYard, so we'll be on Facebook and we'll be on YouTube. And in August, we're going to work on this piece. We'll have a new piece that we'll work on in September. And that will just be how we're going to do things so that I can show you how to use these products and hopefully find ways to get them into your hands. So like I said, first step, bring you guys even a little closer now that we're about to really start working on things. And we're going to work on these drawers first. So I've got my plate here, got my styrofoam plate that I'm just going to put out some of this Pennies from Heaven. So again, just say hey, let me know that you're watching. Sorry about that. Let me know if you've ever used these paints before. Let me know if you have any questions. So we're going to get some of this Pennies from Heaven out on our plate. And then we're going to use this brush. Just get the paint on there and just kind of work it down into the crevices here, so that this is what shows up. So I spent about 30 minutes cleaning this piece. I first used, I have an inexpensive, I'll show you what I used. I have this inexpensive wax brush that I got from the craft store. It's, the bristles are kind of loose, so I don't really use it for wax anymore, but it's perfect for dusting and getting in some crevices. So that's just kind of a trick. If you've got an old piece that you know has a lot of dust in it, you can do that to really work on getting that dust out. So I did that, and then I used some Clorox cleaning wipes to really work on getting the extra just soot and that kind of thing. We are going to put a lot of layers on this piece, give it a lot of texture, a lot of interest. So like I said, first thing that we're doing is just adding the copper patina and making sure that it really gets down. So I'm just like using it real flat and kind of swirling it around to make sure that we get a lot, not a lot, but that we get coverage with this copper patina down in the crevices, in the details of this, of the carving. And this is definitely, I don't think that the piece itself is that old, but it is definitely solid wood, and these details are hand carved. They're distinct and different. You can see some of the gouges in the wood from when the person was creating it and they missed, and there might be just like a little nick over here kind of thing. There's a lot of character in this piece. So again, I'm just using the copper and I'm going around the edge of this drawer, making sure that it's all in there. And that does not make a bit of a difference to the color right now because of the original color, but it's going to add a little bit of shimmer. And when we go over it with our base coat of our midnight blue here in a minute, you'll see some of that is still going to be showing over it. All right. So again, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to comment with that. You can always comment even after the fact. Try to go back and keep up with comments. So if you have questions about the paint products or how you can get them or anything like that, we'd be happy to help. We do sell all of the paint products online at shop.vintagewarehousespartanburg.com. You can get anything that you see me using here today. So tell me what you guys are up to. Beginning of August, I feel like everybody's starting to prepare for back to school, back to normal hours. I know a lot of people are getting in those last minute vacations right now. So say hey, let me know where you're watching from, and tell me what's going on. Tell me if you're enjoying the last few weeks of your summer vacation, or if in your life there's no such thing as summer vacation and you wish everyone would stop talking about it because you've been working your tail off for the past 3 months. I feel like that a little bit sometimes. We actually work harder around here in the summer than any other time just because we have such long to-do lists that we have to get done this time of year. But that's okay. We don't mind. All right. So before I put this away and before it dries, I think I'm actually going to back you up a bit, get myself down on the floor. Hey there, Elizabeth. How are you? Thank you. So we're just working on this piece, and since we are, I'll just turn you down a little. Sorry, I'm not trying to make the camera shaky. This would be more helpful, I'm sure, if I had somebody else here doing this with me. But anyway, so since I still have some copper on my plate, I'm just going to keep adding, and I'm just going to go like in and around these crevices, especially because, like I said, my plan, and I'll show you here in a second, is to use my big VIP brush, which is a 4-inch brush, to put this base coat on, which means I'm probably going to miss some of these crevices. And I kind of want it that way because I want to do a lot of layering. So I want to make sure that what's popping out beneath that is this fun, shiny copper. Also, the knobs that were on this piece are a fun hammered copper. And so I want to really like kind of play off of that. And that's sort of the metallic that I'm going to use. Now, you could use Fusion Mineral if you like the Fusion Mineral paint better. We do have the metallics in that line as well, and there is a copper. I just happened to have my Pennies from Heaven open and nearby. So rather than buy and open a new thing of paint, I decided just to use what I have. Again, I'm just going in here in between where I think that big brush might leave a little, might not quite get down in these crevices. I'm just adding this copper patina. to really make sure that these layers show up and look fun and fantastic. And again, I am going live using StreamYard, so you can find this video on YouTube and Facebook. And if you leave a comment, you have to give StreamYard permission to show me your name. Otherwise, it's just a comment, which is totally fine, and I'm still happy to answer your questions. I just want you to know that, because I know in the past when I've just been on Facebook, I can see your name. Doing well. I took Cameron for 9th grade registration, and I remember, oh my goodness, yes. They grow up so fast, don't they? I went to a birthday party. My niece and nephew had a joint birthday party a couple weeks ago, and it's crazy to me how quickly they have grown, and the memories that'll pop up and how little they were. Just working on the bottom half today. I'll go up and add more copper on the top later, but right now we're just going to focus on this bottom half of the piece. Ninth grade registration, starting high school. Anybody else have any big milestones happening with their kids right now? I know that this is an emotional time for a lot of mamas. So again, if you guys are just popping on, we are painting this old china cabinet, giving it a new life. We are going to be coming on here every Thursday in August at 3, working on this piece. Today is all about our base coat. So I am putting this copper, pennies from heaven, copper patina from DIY, and I'm working it into all the places where there's recesses in the design, because I'm going to use a really big brush to do my base coat in midnight blue. And I really want anywhere that it doesn't take, I would love for this copper to be peeking through. Just want to add a little bit of metallic. There's copper in the hardware for this piece, and I really want to play up on that. I showed everybody earlier. I'll show you again here in a minute, but this, let's see if I can reach it. I'm down here on the floor. I'm a little short. It's a little far away, but we're going to be using this Bubblegum Yum decoupage paper on this piece. So we're going to be putting that in the back, and that's a really pretty dark blue navy background with coral and cream colored flowers. And so we're going to be doing a really fun layered finish for this piece and using copper as our metallic accent. So everything that I'm going to be using in this video is products that you can get from here at Vintage Warehouse. If you have questions about how to use anything, I'd be more than happy to answer those for you. Okay? So while we're down here on the floor, let's just go ahead and get started on this and work our way up. How's that sound? I'm even going to take my flip or my little sandals off so that I don't get strange indentions in my feet while I'm down here working. Okay. All right, so like I said, we're using Fusion Mineral Paint in Midnight Blue. This is a pint. This should take care of this whole piece of furniture and then some, honestly, since we're just doing the base coat and a few layers. I shouldn't have any issue making this work. Mitzi says, you just get to have so much fun all the time. You know what, Mitzi? You're right, I do. I am 100% living my dream job here. And it's hard work. And it took me a solid 4 years of working to get here, but it 100% can be done. I'm super, super happy with what I get to do. I'm really excited to be here at the warehouse. I get to work with lots of super talented people like yourself, and it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. My business is a business and it's my livelihood, but it's also like a puzzle and a challenge to me to get to grow it. So I just love everything about it. And yes, painting is probably the most fun that you can have, in my personal opinion. All right, well, that's fine. That little piece of plastic can just stay there, just being a booger. All right, so I'm just pouring my paint out on a styrofoam plate. So when you're using these paints, so all the paints that we carry here in the store are fairly clean. I mean, they're not like 100% all natural necessarily, not all of them anyway. However, they can all be used indoors, with the exception of if you're using the Fusion Milk paint, that's a powder, and you're going to be better off if you mix that up outside so that you don't inhale those powders. But then once it's mixed up, there's no VOCs. You don't have anything to worry about. All that being the case, why did I say that? Oh, you don't want to contaminate your paint because there's not nearly as many chemicals in it. You want to make sure that you keep it clean. So when at all possible, you want to pour your paint out on a surface, on a palette to work with it, because that makes it last longer. If you are dipping brushes into a container and you get dirt in there, then it can contaminate the paint. It can start to turn. It can even, some of the paint lines can go rancid, especially the DIY if you're not careful. So protect your paint, okay? Now this is our VIP brush. It's a 4-inch brush from the Turquoise Iris. We sell these here at the shop. This bad boy makes base coating go by so super fast. So I'm just going to go right over this door down here, and you'll see what I'm talking about when I say that when you're doing this big brush like this for this base coat, there are areas where my brush isn't going to hit. And that's why I added the copper, so that the copper is what would show underneath there. Because I'm not going to go around with a detail brush and get in all the crevices with this navy. I want this to be our base, but like I said, this is going to be a very layered finish. So especially up here on this drawer. You're going to have a lot of that copper showing through. So I'm not even trying to cover all that. So again, this brush is a 4-inch brush. This is called the VIP from the Turquoise Iris collection. And you can see it makes base coating go really, really fast. And honestly, I mean, any coat, you could, if you're painting the same color for everything, you're not doing layers, you could just continue to use this brush. I have to use a detail brush on these legs, but so one of the reasons that I really like to do my base coats in Fusion Mineral Paint, a lot of our paint lines, DIY especially, but also milk paint to some, well, not really milk paint either, mainly the DIY, the chalk paint, the chalk based paint. When you are using that to paint, until you have sealed it, until you have sealed DIY paint, you're gonna be able to reactivate it if you want to blend or add colors, all those kinds of things. And that means that you could potentially wipe it right back off if you're not careful. So that's why I like to use Fusion a lot for base coats, because Fusion has an acrylic polymer in the base that gives it a built-in top coat, which means that once the paint dries, it's not going anywhere. Once this Fusion mineral paint dries, it's not going anywhere. I can't just wet it with water and reactivate it. As long as I have given it time to dry so that it can start to cure, It's not going to move around. It's on here. It's staying. Which is why I like to use it for a base coat when I'm doing a bunch of layers so that I know that it won't move. The same way, the copper, the pennies from heaven, the patinas that you can get from DIY are going to be the same way. So, all right. Now that we've got a base coat on the bottom, I'm going to stand up. Lift you guys a little bit. Move you back some. And we're going to start to paint the outside here. Okay. So pull you over a bit. So again, in case you weren't here in the beginning, this is the decoupage paper from Bubblegum Yum that we're going to be putting on the back of this cabinet. And so we've chosen Fusion Mineral Paints Midnight Blue to paint with. Some more paint out on my plate. Another thing to note about the Fusion Mineral Paint is that because it has the acrylic polymers and the built-in top coat, you want to be careful when it comes to painting with the door shut. I like to paint with the door shut, but once I get done, I go ahead and pull the drawers out and open the doors so that they can dry without touching, because if they dry touching, then that paint is not really going to want to, I just messed up because I was going to, hang on a second. I say I messed up. There's no such thing as messing up, really. It's just paint. You can always fix it. But I'm going to go ahead and bring you guys a little more this way, because I want to go in and add this copper. Into my details here. And inside my door. There's probably not going to be quite as much peeking through on this top part just because of the way it's built, but I want it to be there nonetheless, so that when it is peeking through, you're getting that copper. All right. I need to back you guys up a little bit so you can see a little bit better. Actually, what I really need to do is put you right here and tilt you back, because most of what I'm going to be doing is on the top. There you go. All right, so at this point, I'm still just using this copper, this pennies from heaven, and I'm going around these door edges and these crevices here, and then I'm coming into the edge around these pieces. To make sure, and I'm just kind of, again, we're going to be going back over that with other things. So I'm just getting this copper in the low spots, especially, because that's really what's not going to get covered with the paint. So in this groove where it's almost like little teeth, pretty sure they call that I'm actually pretty sure they call that a dental molding, which is not molding on a piece of furniture, but the style I'm sure has the same name, no matter what. Just a little bit more of this copper to finish off around these doors. then we'll be good to keep it on with our navy. Just going down inside of these crevices here. All these details. So that the copper shows through. So again, you're just popping in to see what we're doing. We are painting this piece in August. This is our August project. So Mitzi, this copper is actually the DIY Pennies from Heaven, which is not a copper paint. It is a copper patina. Now Fusion does have a copper a metallic mineral paint that is copper. So we could be using that, but I had Pennies from Heaven already open, and so that's what we went with. And the Pennies from Heaven is a liquid patina, not a chalk paint from DIY. So when it dries, it's not going to move around on me the way the chalk paint would, which is why I'm content to use it this way. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and move this paper because I don't want to get paint on it. At least not right now. So, over here, put my blue layer. I'm kind of mixing the copper a little bit. I'm not meaning to do that, but it's okay. It doesn't bother me. Like I said, we're going to be doing a lot of layers, so I don't think it's really going to matter in the long run. I don't think it's going to make that big of a difference. We've got our copper showing through. We've still got the blue. So. I'm just kind of doing this, getting a fairly decent amount of that blue on there. And then I'm just going to come right over it like that. Kind of clean up those brush strokes. Okay. So, show you guys. This is the piece. This is where we are right now. So we've used the Midnight Blue from Fusion Mineral Paint and the Pennies from Heaven, which is the copper patina from DIY Paint. So we got the copper down in the details and then we painted over it with Midnight Blue. I'm going to do the same to both sides of this piece and the bottom and the top on the inside, but of course that would be too difficult to show you on camera. So I will do that between now and the next time that we're together. Just as a reminder, this is the patterned decoupage paper that we are going to be using on the back inside of this cabinet. And of course it does have glass shelves and glass, doors and windows that are going to go back in it once we're done. So we're going to be using some fun colors from DIY and Fusion to create some different layers in this piece. We're going to add a lot of texture to it, have this on the inside, draw some attention to these details. And over the course of the next month, we are going to be looking at almost all of the things that we carry here in the store. So we've used Fusion Mineral Paint and DIY products today. We're going to use our Bubblegum Yum decoupage papers. We're going to be using more DIY products in the layering process next week. We're probably also going to be using some of our Daydream Apothecary neons, especially a special blend of coral that I intend to use. And then we're also going to be finishing up with DIY finishing products as well as a few Fusion Mineral products because they have got these metallic waxes that are pretty awesome. So we're going to be using a little bit of everything on this piece, which is why we're doing it here on this page so that you can see the products that we have here in the store if you want to work on your own furniture projects. You can shop anything that you've seen me use in this video online at shop.vintagewarehousespartanburg.com. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. Whether you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, we'll come back and check and try to get all your questions answered. And then I'll be back here next week at 3 o'clock on Thursday to work on the next step of this piece. So thank you guys for joining me. Have a great day. I'll see you next week. Bye.